So, in today's video, we are going to learn about an important topic in JavaScript, that is methods in array. So, today we are going to look at four more commonly and most important iteration methods of an array. We could see that when we should use these methods, when we should not use these methods, and what are the differences between these methods. And let's get started. So our first method is forEach method. So what forEach method does is that basically forEach method calls a function for each element in an array. It iterates over all the elements present in an array. So we can see this using an example. First I'll create an array named numbers and I'll include numbers in them. Now will write our array name dot for each. What for each method does is that it accepts a callback function. I'll be using fat arrow function as a callback. You can use our normal function as well. This callback function accepts an argument as an element or a number. This number is going to be the element that is present in our original array, that is our number array. Along with number, our forEach method accepts another parameter, that is the index, or we can say the index of an element, in our case num, which is present in our number array. So I'll accept the second parameter as well, and for now we'll just try to console and see what our num and index are. As you can see in the console, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all the elements present in our number array, and this indicates the index of the number. That is 1 is the 0th index, 2 is first index. We can even console it in a proper manner for easy example. So 1 is the 0th number, 2 is the first number, 3 is second number, and so on. What happens if I try to return this? Say if I want to return something from our forEach function. If I write something like return num. So basically this number should give me the number, like it should return the number, and I'll store this number in a new array, or say in a new variable. Let us see what that turns out to be. If I write console dot log new number, as you can see, it is coming as undefined. Why so? I have even returned it from here. So this is one of the key points that we need to remember while using a for each loop. For each loop does not return anything, no matter what you write in it, no matter you write even a return statement, it will never return anything. So there are another few points to remember in a for each method is that for each method is working synchronously. Like if we try to return a promise or execute an async function as a callback, it will not be executed. For each method always runs synchronously. Another key point to remember in for each method is that, suppose let us see using code. If I have to write a simple condition in our loop, that is if my number is equal to say 2, I have to break my loop. Either write a break statement over here, or I can simply return it. So if I simply return it, or say return anything, or I'll just write a return statement. Return statement, what it does is that it does not let the execution go beyond it. So even if I write something like console.log anything, say number, what return should have done is that it should not have let the execution reach this point. The execution should have stopped at line number 5. But as you can see, I can still get the console over here. So what we have learned from this example is that it is not possible for us to return or to break the loop of a for each function. So these are two important points I can say that one needs to remember while using a for each method. So now let us go to our next iteration method, that is array.map. So what array.map function does is that map function returns a new array that includes the result of a function call on each element in an array. It sounds difficult, right? So let us see an example and see what does exactly a map function do. We'll take number as our original array even in this method as well. So I'll be performing map function in a numbers method. Number dot map. Map function will take a callback function. As for each, I'll be using a fat arrow function for the callback. Map callback function accepts number, or I can say element of a number array. Okay. Let us see. I want to convert, or say I want a new array that contains multiples of 5. Like basically I need to convert this array into multiple of 5 array. So this is my aim, and I'm going to do this using our map function. So let us see how we'll do that. As now I'll simply console number or num into 5. Let us see what I get. I'll just comment out this and I'll write console.log and now just console. And as you can see, it has successfully solved our purpose. We have 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. That is num into 5. Now I want this into a new array. So what we can do is like there could be two ways of doing it. Say I'll create another new array, say multiple of 5, and I'll keep on pushing this into that array. Or I can do something way nicer than that. What I can do is I'll simply return this thing and I'll store it in a new variable, or say array, that is multiple of 5. Say I'm naming it as multiple of 5, and if I just console log it, multiple of 5, here we have a multiple of 5, that is 5, 10, 15 and 20. So you might be guessing what is the exact difference between our map function and for each function, because as we can see both of these functions are almost doing the same thing, like they are iterating through our array. So what is basically the difference between them? So the main difference between them is that they are return type. As we have seen in for each method, the return of the for each method is always undefined, whereas the return type of a map function is an array. When should we use map and when should we use for each? The answer is pretty simple. Like if we simply want to loop over an array and our callback method is not returning anything, then each is the perfect method to be used. And if you want to use a map function, it is very necessary, or I could say it is a good practice to return through a map function. Using a map function, then let us move to our next array method, or our next iteration array method, that is array.filter. So what does array.filter method do? Array.filter method creates a new array with the element that passes the result of a given test. So basically what it does is like, as its name says, array.filter. Array.filter method filters out only those elements which satisfies our callback function. And here's another clue. Our array.filter method is also going to accept a callback method just like forEach and our map function. So let us see. I'll again be using a number array. I'll write number.filter, and as I said, it will be accepting a callback function. So this is our callback function. This number.filter method also accepts an element as a call as argument. So I'll be writing num again. In this example, I have a purpose. So my purpose is that I want to separate, or I could say I want to filter out only the odd numbers out of my number array. So I write something like return number or num mod that by 2. And obviously it returns something. So I need to store it in a new array. I can say var odd num array equal to number dot filter and a filter method. If I'll simply console dot log odd number array, here we have a new array which contains our odd numbers. So what has happened exactly here? Let us see. Method does is that filter method filters out our array as per the condition written in our callback. So our condition is num mod 2. If any number satisfies this condition, then that number will be returned. This is a very important key point to remember. The number that satisfies the condition, that number is going to be returned and not the result. Okay, then another thing important to remember is that when we should use our filter method and when we should use our map method. First difference is pretty simple. If you want to filter out something from your number array or from any of your array, you need to use filter method. And if you want to iterate over the entire array and perform each and every operation on your number or on your element in your array, you should be using map. Okay, then this was our array.filter method. And so our next method is array.reduce. As this array.reduce method's name itself is quite explanatory. What reduce method does is that it will reduce our array to a single value. Array.reduce method is commonly used with numbers where we need to perform operations such as finding the sum of all the numbers in an array or similar kind of things. And you will know this method pretty well after we do this example. So its syntax goes in a similar fashion. I'll write my array dot reduce. Reduce method also accepts a callback function. So we have our fat arrow callback function. First argument is the accumulator argument and second is our element. Now if I and the main aim of mine at this point is that I want to have the sum of all the elements present in our number array. So how can I do that? It's pretty simple using a reduce method. I'll simply write something as return accumulator plus element. And to know more what the values of this accumulator and elements are, I can just console out them. Accumulator, comma, element. Okay, so what is this? Okay, let's go one by one. 1 is our first element. 2 is our second element. What is 3? It's our third element? No. 3 is the accumulator or the returned value of accumulator plus sum. So 3 is basically accumulator plus sum, that is 1 plus 2, which is 3. Now 3 is our accumulator, our element is 3, which is our this third or second element of our array. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 is our accumulator, our next element is 4. 6 plus 4 is 10, and our next element is 5. If I store this into some constant, say total. Total, I think, is a perfect name of our variable. And if we just console out our total, console.log total, total is 15. That is 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, and 10 plus 5 is 15. So this is our returned value. So as you can see, what reduce has done is that it has taken an entire array and it has actually reduced it as per our condition that we have returned in our callback function. So we have our 15. And in the end, there is one more key point about these four methods. That is, it is important to remember that these methods are iteration methods. So it will never change our original array. That is, our original array is number, and even if after performing all of these four operations on our number array, if we just console it out, we can see our original array is still not changed, and it will not change as until and unless we explicitly change it in our callback function. So what I mean by is, like, if I'll do something like number, say index equal to 2 or any value in that manner, until and unless I don't change my original array explicitly in our callback function, this array will not be changed. As you guys, so this was my first video explaining the four important iteration methods in an array. So if you guys like this video, do like it, do share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and see you later.